We open up in the room as the door opens slowly, and Mikey and Kate make their way inside. Soon the light comes on and they lay their eyes on a bare white room with the bare minimum inside. When they push a red button on the wall, a computer welcomes them, and it tells them that they have to stay there for 50 days in order to receive $5 million. If one of them leaves, the money goes down to $1 million. Mikey and Kate can't contain their excitement as the opportunity of a lifetime begins for them. Kate can't believe that they got this lucky, but Mikey just wants her to take it all in. They kiss, and Kate calls this a second chance for them. She decides that they should just split the money that they'll get, and Mikey seems surprised that she would even bring it up. When she asks about what he's going to do with his half, he simply tells her that he'll never worry about money again. After realizing that that answer's not good enough for Katie, he tells her a whole list of things he plans to do, which includes building schools, partying on a private island, and flying to space with Elon Musk. Kate tells him that she's going to invest. After talking about money, the two of them decide to take the grand tour of the room, and they go straight to the bedroom. They try the bed out, and the reality of boredom already seems to set in. Mikey realizes that there's no TV or anything, and the two of them stare at the ceiling. Eventually, they continue their tour and they check out the bathroom. When Mikey tries to come in with Kate, the computer tells him that the bathroom is for one guest at a time. So Mikey goes to check out the food, and he's amazed to find that his meal is delivered in a small milk carton that's labeled food. He tries to smell it, but there's absolutely no smell to it. He tries it, but it is what it is. It's not good, not bad. Then Mikey decides to walk around the room and try to pass some time. And Kate finds that there's an automatic lights out set for 10 o'clock at night. Of course Mikey tries to get it on when the lights go out. What else are they gonna do? I'd try and do it as often as possible to pass the time. Mikey tries to point out that the room is pitch black, but she still wants to try and do it subtly under the covers. Oh no. In the morning, the room wakes Kate up, and she goes to the bathroom to state her affirmations before getting ready. When Mikey wakes up, he tries to play games with Kate, but they eventually continue on their new boring routines. It turns out that their breakfast is just as mundane as their dinner was, and Kate tries to ask why Dr. Voyan would want to conduct an experiment like this. Mikey tells Kate about some other projects that Voyan conducted, and it turns out that the aftermath of his previous experiments didn't end so well. Kate tries to state that not everyone's so easily manipulated. Later, Mikey goes to stare at the clock, and he starts to get really deep about the color white. White would literally be the worst color for me to be stuck with. Also, if you're ever stuck somewhere like this, don't stare at the clock. Mikey's contemplating if the clock is really showing the proper time, or if they're trying to manipulate the time that passes. I'd start wondering that if there wasn't a window, too. When it comes time for bed, Kate tries to remind Mikey that $5 million is the prize at stake here. Mikey lays in bed staring at the ceiling, and in the morning he gets up with Kate's wake-up call. They continue their time in the room, and they manage to make the most of their time by playing together, yoga, running, and getting into a routine. The days go by, and it seems as though the two of them are actually getting closer than before. Eventually, they end up with 23 days done, and Mikey seems to be giving up. Suddenly, he finds a beetle on its back, and he talks to it while he helps him up. He even pours a bit of his food on the ground to try and feed it, but the AI tells him that the food is only for him and Kate. After thinking about it, Mikey tries to tell the computer that he is by no means forfeiting, but he wants to set the bug free outside the door so it can live. Look, I have all the respect for all living things, but that beetle is not going to get in the way of $5 million. Little buddy's staying with me. Kate tries to keep telling Mikey that he can't push the button to the door, and this leads to an argument about compassion for living things. By the end of the argument, Kate takes a few steps away from Mikey, and she ends up squashing the little bug. Kate tries to point out that she's really sorry, but Mikey's done with the conversation. Later on, Mikey tells Kate that he wants to take a treat from the machine, but it takes out $100,000 from the prize money. Mikey thinks that it's worth it, and he ends up with a green crayon. While this seems absurd to Kate, Mikey immediately puts it to good use. Okay, while the idea of $100,000 for a jumbo crayon seems absolutely mind-boggling, I could understand and justify it as a means to an end. Mikey draws all over the walls, and he creates a landscape of beautiful and terrifying images. Eventually, Kate asks him to draw her, and he puts her in a pose to start drawing. He starts trying to draw her while capturing her essence, but Kate tells him that she wants a more realistic portrait done. After he points out that's not how he creates, she decides that she doesn't want to be bothered anymore. After about a week, his crayon is used up, and he goes to clean the crayon off his hands. He leaves such a mess in the bathroom that Kate has to go in there and clean it up. When she comes back, she apologizes for how she's been acting while they've been there. That would be the other key to making it the entire 50 days. You've got to be in there with someone that you can stand to be around that long. Every relationship should test themselves like this somehow. Imagine having to do this before getting married? I don't think anyone would get married. After some time, Kate goes to the bathroom, and she calls Mikey in because she finds a gun on the counter. She tells Mikey to get rid of it, and he slides it under the bed. Later on, the two of them get a connect message from family members, and Mikey's sisters mention the fact that she thinks he's leaving Kate. She ends the message by telling him to deal with his Sean stuff, and Mikey's demeanor changes immediately. When it comes time for Kate's connect, she loses it when her father comes on the screen, and she runs to cry in the corner. He wishes her good luck, and Mikey goes over to try and comfort her. The next day, Kate ignores her wake-up call, and she decides to stay in bed. Mikey tries to check on her, and she tells him about her history with her father. It turns out that they've both lied to each other quite a bit. It turns out that Kate was so ashamed about her father, who was an alcoholic that drank away their money, that she told Mikey that he was dead. I'm not entirely sure who I think will make it out of here now. Kate isn't looking too good. With 19 days left, Mikey starts losing it as he reads his shirt tag in a different accent. After spending the morning like that, he tries to raise Kate's spirits around lunchtime, but it's no good. In the end, he just hops into bed to hold her instead. In the morning, he finds himself sleeping on the floor, and he comes over to see how Kate's doing. He tries to convince her to take one of her treats, but she tells him that she'll just start doing her meditation again. Mikey tells her that he doesn't think he can do this anymore, and he lays on the ground while Kate pulls herself together. When Kate comes back to Mikey, she tries to convince him to take his second treat, but this one costs $250,000. What? He better get a 3-crayon bundle for that price, or a Lego set, or a sex doll. Anything for that price. Okay, I take back what I just said. He got a whole woman as a second treat. Her name's Simone, and she's in her birthday suit. This should be interesting. Simone reveals that she's just an actress that they hired, and she was booked for a month. When Kate comes out, she's not impressed with Simone, and she has Mikey give her his shirt. Simone wastes no time in making herself at home, and Mikey tries to defend himself to Kate. He tries to explain that he had no idea she was going to pop out since his last treat was a crayon. Kate tries to ask Mikey what they're going to do with Simone being part of the group now, but the lights out happens. After a little fumbling around, Kate becomes okay with Simone sleeping in the bed since Simone thinks that she'll be out of there in a day. Kate wakes up in the morning to find that Simone isn't there, but just when she gets comfortable, she runs into her in the bathroom. Simone finishes up her shower and she heads out into the immaculate room. After Kate takes her shower, she comes back to find Simone and Mikey laughing on the bed, and she tells Mikey that she's going to take her first treat. Kate's first treat turns out to be ecstasy pills. Kate and Simone waste no time in taking one, but Mikey takes a little longer to take his. Once it kicks in, Kate and Simone get a little closer, and Mikey seems to be going on a trip that's all his own. Eventually, the three of them get up close and personal until Mikey crashes on the bed, and while there, he spots blood on the sheets, and his trip takes a turn. There's obviously some bad blood between Mikey and drugs, but when we see a flashback, we see him drowning while a little boy drowns with him. This is the worst trip possible. I'm sure that immaculate room looks pretty good right now. After Kate calms Mikey down, Simone asks who Sean was, and Kate explains that Sean was Mikey's brother. Sean drowned in a pool while Mikey was supposed to be watching him, but Mikey stepped away to get high when the accident happened. After that, Simone asks about how the two of them met, and Mikey eventually makes his way to the bathroom. When he comes back out, he goes over to Simone and he tries to explain things to her. Simone opens up about how she lost her mother when she was 12, and the two of them get closer as they comfort each other. Kate hears them talking, and she comes over to see the two of them holding hands, having a heart-to-heart. Well, someone has to get to the heart of things. Kate doesn't seem to be doing anything to help. She even offered Mikey the ecstasy. Now she's accusing Simone of trying to get Mikey. She didn't seem to be trying, but I wouldn't put it past her now. The next morning, Kate goes to the bathroom and she finds that Simone is gone. She wakes up Mikey to tell him, and he tells her that he really doesn't feel okay. Just then, Kate spots a note left on the wall, and she calls Mikey over. The note is from Simone, and it says that no one's ever made love to her like that. Whew, that's dirty. It's one thing to work off of the insecurities that are already there, but it's another thing to create stories along the way. I was kind of rooting for Simone too, honestly. Kate compares Simone to Mikey's ex, and he tries to tell her that this is just the room messing with her. When the argument gets heated, she pushes him, and he hits his head on the corner of the wall. She tries to apologize, but Mikey asks her if he's ever been unfaithful to her. He points out how much he's sacrificed to make her feel comfortable, and his legs give out on him. Mikey tries to tell her that he needs to leave and see a doctor, but Kate tries to do everything she can to keep him going. Mikey finally realizes that she doesn't care, and he sees that she would let him bleed out for the money. Kate tries to tell him that it isn't true, but she refuses to leave the room with him. Honest question, how many of you would leave with him to go get a doctor? And how many of you would do exactly what she's doing? How many of you would just let him leave on his own and go down to the $1 million? Mikey keeps trying to point out that this little experiment is over, but Kate refuses to believe him. Mikey tries to point out that he's going to leave with or without her, but Kate still tries to convince him to stay with her. Mikey makes his way to the button, but when he turns around, he sees Kate holding the gun to him. Kate can't understand how he can just throw away millions of dollars, but Mikey keeps going for the button. Kate fires a warning shot, but it's not enough to stop him. Mikey pushes the button, and he walks out with a little over 16 days left on the timer. Kate drops to the ground, and she starts to sob alone. Time continues to pass for Kate, and she passes the time alone. When there's just over 2 days left, Kate starts to eyeball the button, and she even reaches for the button. Outside, we see Mikey running down the street, and he eventually runs into Kate, who is just visiting her father. The two of them catch up a little bit, and she apologizes for everything that happened. The two of them walk to Kate's car, and he asks her about whether she made it to the end. Kate ignores the question, and she asks how Mikey's sister's doing. As the two of them walk to the parking lot, we see that an anonymous donor contributed to the homeless shelter. Then we jump back to the immaculate room where a new couple is introduced to the room, and they think that the room is going to be their second chance. Then the credits roll. This one almost got me. I happened across it scrolling through new releases, and I'm glad that I spotted it. It's definitely worth a watch. Give it a shot. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this one. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.